Alright, so very quickly, I do want to apologize for the lack of uploads. I took the holiday season off because I actually had some people to spend time with for the first time in a long time, and after that, just in general, life got really bad. So I had to take just for mental health's sake, just a little bit of a break. And even still, right now, like I'm in a better spot, but I can't really record videos right now. I don't have proper headphones, so I can't listen to things the quality that I'd like to. I got two computer monitors, so I don't have to use a TV anymore, and they're broken. I have to return them. I haven't had them for like a week even. So um, I did want to record a topic video on AI and music for a long time now. So, seen as Fantano, actually the other day, not the other day, today, like an hour ago, has released a video on that himself. I kind of wanted this opportunity to kind of comment on it a little bit, because frankly, it left kind of a bitter taste in my mouth. Because for a lot of reasons, but I feel like well, first off, there's no camera here, but this is the video in question. He uploaded this the other day, or I don't know. I keep saying that, literally 2 hours ago. But basically, he's talking about Suno AI, which is a website, if you don't know, where you can go on. You can go on. I think you need an account, but put an email password. It's free, whatever, and you can make music. That's all you need, and you can type in the lyrics that you want, and you can kind of say what kind of sound you want to go for, whether it be like classic rock or even like something obscure like Russian choir or something. Like you can just kind of generate any songs that you will. And he goes on to say that it's just they should close as bad, AI music bad, all that kind of stuff. And I don't think it's that simple. It really isn't. And I think mainly where his points are coming from is a couple things. That the use of AI in music kind of cheapens the entire thing, and there's less integrity there, as if you were to do it all yourself, like I am trying to do. Um, that the people who don't like the process of making music and just want the end result, and the people who like the process and are willing to do everything themselves are mutually exclusive, and there isn't a middle ground, which there is, and other stuff too. But for, first, before we get into specifics, I do want to talk about AI in general because I think that's a good starting point. Because people everywhere kind of think AI bad, and again, it's not that simple. Technology changes, technology evolves, and it really it depends on which industry it's in. Like for example, like nowadays, right? Like blacksmiths has gone from like a necessity to a hobby. That's just how that works. Back then when all we had was swords, we had to have people make all these swords. Now, because it's not a necessity, we have guns and things, right? It's a hobby, and you have shows like Fortune and Fire based around that, right? Um, Same for music in a way, and other industries, right? Like let's say like back when typewriters were a thing, the reason why they're called uppercase and lowercase is because we actually had like chests or cases full of these like interchangeable little stamp things they had to apply to their typewriter. That was like how the first ones were done. So now we have electronic ones, but I would not say that cheapens it because it's easier and the technology has kind of surpassed this barbaric form of it. It's better. It's just that's just how it is. And obviously those jobs, of these guys who have to forge these, typefaces, or whatever you'd call them, these upper and lower cases, they don't exist anymore because they don't need to. So if I think everyone thinks AI is a replacement, and it's not a replacement. It is at best a substitute, at worst a substitute, at best it is a tool to aid a human person. So let's say with something like translation, right? Like obviously that is a tool to help with translation. Like like if you're running in a animation company, for example, right? You could pay a whole bunch of people to like comb over translations and fine tooth comb, go through all the corrections, make sure it's all like exactly as it needs to be, and it takes all this time. Or you have AI do it and have one person just check it over real quick. Like, obviously that's better, especially when you have people now, when you have translators that like to insert politics and other garbage into translations and boast about how they're ruining translations. Obviously, we're not going to have jobs for much fucking longer, obviously, and it's better to have an AI without bias comb through translations and then do it itself and just have one real person kind of touch it up, comb it over, saves time, saves money, all that kind of stuff, right? And for your smaller developers, right? That's going to be incredible. If you're working on your own like an indie developer, right? That's going to be great, you know. So it depends what industry it is, and with music and art, that's obviously going to be one of those industries where it's a bit more of a gray area, right? And but again, to his other point, like the people who he commented on one of the co-founders of Sudo, and he said the founder said that um, a lot of people who make music hate the process of making music, and he thinks that's some weird take, and like it's not. Making music is hard, and he goes on to basically say that like there's these two camps of people who don't want to make music. It's too hard. They just want the end result, and he doesn't want to hear music from those people. I get it, kind of. And then there's the other people who have integrity and who want to do everything themselves and all that kind of stuff. That's fine and good, but that's not the two camps. There is a middle ground, like people like me. Like the only reason I don't call myself a professional musician is because I have not made any music. I've not had anything posted, and that is exactly because I'm in that middle ground. I'm in a weird like Ouroboros kind of spiral, right? Where like I wish I could have something to kind of back myself up and prove I know what I'm doing, but I don't because of this exact problem. Where the actual doing of the music, that's easy for me. I can play a lot of instruments. I can play really fast. I can play really well. I can sing. I can do all of it. I can make the beat. I can play the guitar. I can do the guitar or the keyboard behind there. I can do the bass. I can do the vocals. All that kind of stuff. I can write the lyrics. But when it comes to the recording, that's a fucking nightmare. And this is exactly why I have not done anything. And in fact, it's taken 7 years, and I'm still struggling to do literally anything, even a demo tape, because I am in this alone. I've actually asked a lot of people to help me with music, and I've always, gotten led on, got excuses, despite being told I'm phenomenal, and like they'd be lucky to work with me, but they always have some weird reason not to, right? Which, ranting saltiness aside, that it's a middle ground that does exist. Like, I can understand I can understand saying, well, just generating, a song with AI cheapens music. That's not what everyone is exactly doing. Like, I think it, again, as a tool, it can be really helpful. Like, let's say, for example, right? You have to look at AI itself, right? So, yes, there's AI song generation, but there's also websites out there that mix for you, they just mix your tracks for you, and that's really helpful. That's great, you know. Um, and also like besides things like that, right? You can implement it in some areas, right? Like the mixing, but like it doesn't have to be totally AI. That doesn't have to be. And I think a good comparison also is if you look at the Vocaloid scene, right? Like I was saying before, you have to look at AI itself and what it exactly can do, right? With Vocaloid, which is not AI, by the way, it's not how it works. Vocaloid is a software. It's basically it's like MIDI. It's like MIDI voice. You still gotta like tune it, and you can still gotta fine tune it and write your lyrics and do all its production stuff. It's kind of like its own DAW. It's made specifically for your vocals, right? And it's a substitution, not a replacement, right? And with that, right, there's people who have taken the software itself and kind of pushed it past its limits and kind of broken it in like an experimental way. I can think of um, SOOOO on YouTube. He's made some cool like noise electronic sounds with it and really pushed the voices past their limit. I can think of Utsupi, which is like this metal, like death metal pop kind of guy, and he was, from my knowledge, the first person to figure out how to make the Vocaloid scream for metal purposes. And honestly, what most people might not know is that Porter Robinson uses Vocaloid all the time. Those robotic voices in his songs, that's Vocaloid. That's what that is. And when I think of songs like the last track on Worlds, right, Goodbye to a World, um, he recognizes that Vocaloid is kind of like a robot, right? And he kind of incorporates that into the concept for the track. And you basically have this robot thing die, and the voice gets all glitchy and it really works, and it's actually kind of powerful because he recognizes what Vocaloid is. It is a software. It is a it is a robotic synthesis singing, and he uses that exact thing to his advantage, right? So when you have this AI stuff, it's exactly it's the same kind of thing. Is we have to use it we have to acknowledge what it is, and in terms of creativity, because this point was basically saying, because he was basically saying like you can't be creative with it. It just cheapens things. No, you can have integrity and you can be creative with AI if you use it, in that context with that in mind, right? And honestly, I have not thought of anything exactly in the same vein as um, Porter Robinson with Goodbye to a World. I've not thought of anything like that, but like it's not that hard to think of something. It's about flipping it on its head in the correct way, right? Like again, I think another good comparison, right? If we look at vaporwave, right? Um, vaporwave has a very specific sound, and it's all about evoking nostalgia, and it does that because it uses music that exists to that's really old that you might not have heard in a long time, like stuff from the '80s and stuff, right? And it gives you a sense of nostalgia because it's using older music and it's chopping it up and it's making it sound very ethereal. So like that wouldn't really work if you weren't allowed to use existing music. And there is vaporwave out there where they use original, like they make from the ground up. They don't actually use sampling, but also that doesn't really give a nostalgic feeling. It's more for a euphoric feeling, and it's because that connection of that memory isn't there, you know. And even with like the kind of underlying punk aspect of it, right? Like the kind of punk mindset where it's like we're gonna make the music that we want to make. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if it can be sold because it can't, because copyright stuff. It doesn't matter if anyone likes it. It's just we want to make it, right? And I do see that side of things, right? Like I see channels like Almost Vinyl and Obscurest Vinyl where they kind of they make these kind of comedic tracks, and they're always in this like very oldies kind of like 60s kind of sound that you can't get anymore. We like I know with some old rock you can like track down the very specific amps people have used if they've said what amps they used back then, and all these other things you can for before distortion was a thing you could add on digitally, right? They had to poke holes or slashes in their amps. Like you can find out what exactly they did, and like you can do all this shit, right? Or but like with like the other stuff, with this um, with like the oldie stuff, right? It's about how it's recorded, and we like technology dies and stuff. Like you can't just like record it the same way they did back then with the same methods and same tools. Like, it's just not. You just can't do that, right? And So you can have these AI things, make that sound come back again, right? And you know what? Maybe to go back, right, when I said I can't think of a way where you could use AI in of itself to flip on its head in a cool way. That's the thing, right? It can sound like anything. So if you can think of a really cool way to let's say flip that kind of sound on its head, which they've kind of done, that's cool. That's creativity, which has integrity. Like you don't need to do it yourself with your own hands for it to have integrity. It's just a matter of expression. That's all music is. It's about expression. You know, it's I think means to an end as a phrase. Like it doesn't matter how you get there. It's if the end product is good or not. And even then, it's subjective. But like there is still rules. For the most part, there is a correct way to mix your music and a correct way to produce. Although people like Death Grips or Wawaka, might flip it on its head. Generally, there's a right way to do things, and there's certain, we kind of have, rules of what sounds good and doesn't sound good. But beyond that, again, it's just like if I want to make something that purposely hurts your fucking ears, I can do that. It's not correct, but that's what I want to express. And even then, with noisier things when it comes to Merzbow or Mars Volta or whatever, right? There is noise that's good and noise that's bad, and if you want noise that's good or bad, that's your choice, and you can freely do that. And I don't know why people think that using AI automatically is less integrity. It like if you're just generating a song, then sure, but it doesn't have to be that way, and that's not what everybody is doing. And again, one of the other things the guy was saying is that like it's not only one of the reasons why musicians don't like to make music nowadays is because it's hard, and it is. It's hard and expensive, and it is. And Fantano doesn't exactly see that. Look at like as much as we would like to believe, right? Not everyone is Prince. Not everyone can go into a studio and within an hour, record everything themselves, first take and just get it out there. Like it's not how that works. And even still, he had a producer, right? Like he didn't do everything himself. He just played the music. Like he had producers who would record and all that kind of stuff, and that's why he went to a label, right? And nowadays we have like DAWs and ways to do things yourself, but not everyone can do that. And even he couldn't. Even after the internet was a thing, he didn't like really take use of that. I don't know when exactly he died. I don't know if it was before the boom of DAWs, but even still, like DAWs are its own thing. Yeah, you can have like your drummer and your guitarist, and like you can have those as separate people. If you're good enough, you can have them as one person. But like, here's the thing: I am amazing at the tangible side of music. I am not good with computers. I mean, I'm a Gen Z or whatever, right? I'm 23. I was watching YouTube since I was 7. I know how to use a computer. But when it comes to like tech and coding and using DAWs and that side of things, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. And it's taken me literally years trying to understand the software, and I don't have the money to do it properly, right? Like I get like no money. Like I can't work for various reasons, so I'm on government assistance, right? And that money is very little. And honestly, when it comes to living in Canada right now, it's fucking awful. For example, I live next to fucking meth crackhead addicts that scream and throw things constantly. So recording anything acoustically is out of the fucking picture because they're always yelling and screaming and throwing things, right? If I want to record things digitally, can't do that either. I can't figure out the software. You need all these cords and speakers and all this stuff, right? I bought an audio interface 2 years ago that was like $300. As of last week, I realized how bullshit and how useless that is. and it's wasted money and wasted time, right? And it my point is that like if I knew how to work all this stuff, I'd have stuff out by now. I would. But I can't. So things like AI mixing would help with that if I could get things connected and recorded at all. Point being, there is a middle ground, right? There isn't just people who would generate AI and publish songs, be like, whatever. I hate making music. I just want the result. And then you have the other camp of people, right, who they enjoy the process and all that kind of stuff. That's, you know, there isn't those two separate camps. There's a middle ground. And again, that other camp, that's assuming you're one person can do literally everything. And other than fucking mumble rap, you're not gonna have that many people do that. Cause yeah, it is hard. I mean, the reason I do it all physically is because I prefer that just tangibly, and I'm better at it. I'm not good at doing it on a computer, but I'm really good at doing it physically, right? But again, I can't use a DAW for shit, you know. So again, even Prince couldn't, you know, and it when you have these two camps, you're kind of expecting that like either you can't do it or you can do everything, and you just can't, right? And yeah, you can get other people, right? You can get like if you can only sing, then you can find your drummer and your keyboardist and your guitarist and your bassist and your producer, sure. But if you can't, like in my case, then you have to do it yourself. So there has to be something, some kind of tool to work as a substitute to meet those middle grounds, like AI, for example, and just how Vocaloid works for substituting for vocals in case you can't sing, blew your voice out, don't have a good voice, just whatever. I think that AI can also do the same thing. It can be a substitute. It can be a compromise. It can be something you can use creatively with integrity. It can be all these things, and maybe right now, because it's such a still kind of primitive state. Maybe not right now, because all it can do is just generate, and you got to be very specific with your words. And honestly, I haven't really used it that much. I haven't used it at all. I don't think, because it's not advanced enough where I could get something out of it. Actually, I think what would help the most, which people hate the most, is I think it'd be beneficial to, excuse me, to be able to actually call certain artists. Like you can't like type an artist into the program. You can't do that. Lawsuits, all that kind of stuff. I get that. But also that would help. It would. Like a lot of times, music is evolution, right? That's what it is. You have different genres and bands with their own styles, kind of bouncing off each other, right? So if you don't really want to publish something, but just want to experiment, right? If you just want to, throw some sliders around, turn some dials, and just kind of see if you can come up with something that sounds interesting, I think that would really help. To be able to like call very specific bands, but okay, let's smash these or genres, like smash these together, right? Because there are certain you can do genres, but like there's just certain bands that have their own thing, whether it's Tool or Korn or Radiohead, like circa Kid A, Poke Computer. There's just certain artists that like have their own little thing, right? And Pebble Negative, just whatever, right? And if I wanted to, let's say, oh, there was a point when AI covers were first a big thing, right? There's a lot of like, wow, Drake would actually be really good as like a country artist, and like, oh, actually, Patrick Starr can sing this song I can't remember very good. Actually, I don't know if you ever heard the Spanish voice actor for Homer Simpson. He's a lot more guttural and stuff. There's this Spanish song, I think, that did a cover of, and holy shit, is that amazing! And that's kind of what I mean. Is like it'd be very cool as an artist, to be able to take certain vocalists with their own style, certain bands and just kind of mash them and just see what happens, just as an experimentation. And I think if AI is allowed to continue and to evolve more as a tool and substitute than like its own like one-stop shop just to generate a song and move on, I think it could be incredibly useful for the music industry as a whole. But I think we have to kind of ease up on copyright a little bit because I think the music industry has definitely gone more. It's more industry than music. Like music is it follows rules and stuff, right? Like certain chord progressions evoke certain emotions and they evoke certain things, right? Same with melodies, all that kind of stuff, right? So I just find it like when music is about expression, right? It's very annoying that I'll write a melody with a chord progression that evokes a very specific feeling, but oh, someone else did that first, I'm not allowed. It's like, well, that's not exactly fair. Only one person can express that that expression. That's not exactly cool for the art form as an industry, sure, but like vaporwave, right? What if I don't want to go by the industry's rules? And I think like vaporwave, where it's a subgenre of plunderphonics, which basically means that it's a style of music that only uses existing music and kind of recycles it and blends into something new. Just like vaporwave, I do think that AI music can kind of go in its own zone, and I think I think that'll be a good thing. I really do. Because like they, you could argue like yeah, but everyone's going to do it half-assed and like yeah, but there'll be the people that don't. Like right now, right? With DAWs being so incredibly easy to access, right? A bit pricey, but you can pirate them or whatever, right? Not that I'm telling you to do it, but like making music is at least electronic music is so easy. You have so many rappers now doing it, and there's a lot of shit ones, isn't there? There's a lot of ones who take like a shitty stock beat and mumble over it, and that's not AI, but it's the exact same problem. You know, there's going to be a lot of shit. There's going to be a lot of cheap, trash. There's going to be a lot of, cash grab kind of stuff. And that's how it's always been, you know. Even when you talk about things like, stereotypical new metal or stereotypical hair metal or stereotypical like whatever else. Like it's just like that's going to exist no matter what. So I think for the sake of music as an art form, music as a creative expression, I do think it's important to have AI stick around for a bit, and maybe again, like maybe take it away from like a one-stop shop kind of thing. I don't think just being able to just generate a song out of nowhere, um, that is a little um, I don't, it's not. I mean, you can put your own lyrics in, right? So like again, with those channels like Obscurus Vinyl and stuff, right? And those people who do those memes where they'll take like Slipknot, but it's like 30s swing, jazz band. Like those are cool. But I do think most of the creativity is going to come with taking it away from that like one button whole song, and a lot more customizable. And I think we got to ease up on copyright. I think it'll be very good to be able to like just take these random aspects of music and combine them, because that's kind of what we're doing now, right? With the internet, right? Everyone can look up any amount of music they want. Like I used to, when I was in high school, I used to listen to an album a day. That's what I used to do, and I listened to a shit ton of music. I like in terms of songs that I have liked, cause I save all of them, right? Any song that I like, I save. There is close to 8,000, and now imagine the shit I hated or just didn't like, cause that's gonna be the majority of it. I listen to a shit ton of music, right? And your creative output is only as large as your creative input. So we're kind of doing the same thing where I'm hearing all this music and I can combine all these things, and I can, if you're like me, if you're lucky like me and are blessed like me and have the talent to kind of recreate it yourself, you can. And you can kind of experiment with these things and kind of, smack these artists together with these, like a kid in a playpen, just kind of see what happens, right? But something like AI would make that incredibly easier for the sake of experimentation, right? You could especially in things like the older, style of swing and stuff, um, like the Frank Sinatra era music, right? Um, or if you want to have like specifically the older jazz sound or vintage metal sound, right? That's going to come down to mixing with specific equipment we just don't have access to anymore, or methods we don't have access to anymore. The reason why Frank Sinatra sounds the way it does is because he'd have like Frank in a room, like a big room with an orchestra, and they're placed in very specific spots and one microphone. That was it, and that's why it sounds the way it does. And if I want to make a Frank Sinatra style song, um, again, if I'm making like a concept album and I want some kind of like stereotypical that's life kind of finale, something like that would be useful to be able to like write a song and put it into this AI mixing thing and have it spit out this product that's mixed like that way because you just can't do that anymore. And I think that's the area that we really should focus on is developing AI and having it become more of like a tool. Or honestly, you could even take that, like I said, like that like mixing side of things, and make that like an FL Studio plugin. That'd be pretty cool. So you can be recording, whatever you want, and let's say you want to like again, like you want like a 60s lo-fi kind of sound, or you want like I don't know, you just want to, it's just that'd be cool, because you can you can like mix it yourself and all this EQ and stuff, but like if you would like to choose, you could just press some buttons and try and do it that way. And also again, that'd be a lot easier to experiment and kind of back to back see like, well, which mixing style best benefits the music I have, rather than spending like a whole bunch of time mixing it again and again. Like you want your ears to be fresh, so it'd be very helpful to basically have a thing we can just like kind of in the moment like swap how it's mixed and just see how things work out. But there's like I could go on and on and on, right? And I have for a bit, and I don't script these, so I just kind of turn this on and I go, right? But I can think for a lot of how to use it in a creative way. And that's what we're after here. Like, if you take it at face value, well, of course, it's not, the most amazing thing. But again, it kind of reminds me how like people used to be like, oh, well, electronic music compared to rock music is bad because they're just pressing buttons on a computer. Well, nowadays, that's what everybody's doing. Even rock musicians do it, All these bands like fucking, I don't know, I don't remember any names 'cause I don't fucking like them, but like, so much modern metal is effects and not playing. But that's what's made this sound. It's all these effects done in this very specific way. It's created this sound because of the effects. If this style of mixing and all these effects weren't there, it wouldn't sound like it does. It just wouldn't. So like, like it's good. Like I think AI music should be explored more as a tool. Um, Obviously not as a replacement. Obviously, maybe as a substitute, depending. But as a tool, it could be definitely highly useful. And if anybody is thinking like, well, I don't want all music to become AI, well, you're living proof that won't fucking happen. Because obviously, it's supply and demand. If there's people out there that want real music from real people 100%, then you're going to have people go out and do that because that's what they want to do. If like for like you like let's say for a band like Justice, right? Um, they kind of combined heavy metal stuff and EDM stuff. They could just do heavy metal stuff. They didn't want to do that. They wanted to do it in this specific way, right? And it's kind of the same thing. I'm losing my train of thought here. Sorry. I'm at a bit of an ADD moment. Um, but that's basically what it's all about, right? Like if you they could easily have been like, you know what, we want to do it like the metal way, but they didn't want to do that because doing it all through electronics gives it a different sound, and they wanted that specific sound. Maybe I don't want to have it sound like a rock band. Maybe I want to play all the things, but have it mixed a certain way or whatever else, right? I think what'll be, I think what they should really focus on, what will be a good idea for this AI stuff, right, is the ability to record a melody and input that. Like some kind of FL Studio plugin, right? Because you can input lyrics and it can generate a song based on those lyrics, but it'd be very nice if you can develop lyrics and give it like a melody or something, or maybe two melodies, and then take those melodies and build your song from that. Because that's not much different than what you already do as a musician. If you write a melody, well, then you take that melody and based on the notes, you extract your harmonies because based on music theory, you can only do certain things. Um, you extract your chords the same way. This is how it works, right? So let's say I could give it like a melody. I could say if I'm thinking about like an FL Studio plugin kind of way, like you can have like an option for mixing, right? I want it mixed like this or like this or like this or like this. I want it EQ'd like this or this or this, and then you can also input chord progressions. I want to generate a chord progression that's this or this or this. Let's say if you can't play rhythm guitar or whatever, or just if you're doing EDM stuff, it just makes it a bit easier. Rather than trying to press all, right, rather than making the chords yourself. If you know that's what you want, then it just saves time to be able to select a chord progression, right? Um, and I think that's just like if like if I can think of all these ways you can use it, I think other people can come up with one, right? Like I don't want to be that guy who like, oh, it's 1,000,001 uses. Like I could do that, but what's that gonna do? I'm just some guy, ranting to his computer or so. But like, if I didn't come up with a million, you can come up with one. Like, I'm sure some person who is like a software engineer or someone who works on AI, maybe Fantano will see it, maybe Suno will see it, who knows? But like, I'm not in a position to do anything about it really. But I do think there is things we can do, and AI is not something we should kind of just throw out and not think about, because we really should, for the sake of creativity and stuff. It could definitely make things a lot easier in the long run, and it'd be good for experimentation and all that kind of stuff too. Um, Sorry, this is a bit long. Um, I think I covered everything I want to talk about. I think. Again, I don't script these, so I just kind of turn it on and go. Um, if you want to continue the conversation, if you want to, leave a comment, I'm not recording many videos right now, but I'll still reply to comments. So if anyone has some arguments or anything they want to, present, I will, I'll read those comments and I'll reply and I will engage. And yeah, I think that's gonna be it. I think. Um, I just want to make the video because like hit a sore spot with me, and I do think I am qualified to talk about it because I'm in that special middle ground where like it does matter, and I do have that like exact experience, and I do think I think I'm smart enough to be able to kind of like see past the bias and see past a lot of just other things and kind of think, well, how could it work in theory? How could we like what direction could we take this that would be beneficial? And it's very healthy to play devil's advocate sometimes. I do it all the time. It's a very good healthy thought experiment to do with anything, and I think that's gonna be it. I don't think I'll script this and redo this. I think I'll just put this up as is. Um, if you, I don't know how well this video is gonna do. If the thousands or exactly 3 people, new people, see this and don't know what I do, I usually do music reaction review stuff. I find everybody, whether it be Fantano or Brad Taste in Music or the critics or IGN, not IGN, Loudwire, whoever, right? I find all these people, 99% of the industry focuses on the newest music coming out, the biggest artists, all that kind of stuff. And I do the opposite. I go back and I look at music that people are missing for whatever reason, music that should be music that's been overlooked for whatever reason. I kind of focus on that. So if you want to find some music that's really good and expand your tastes and some music you might not have heard of, then feel free to subscribe. And if you want more of these topic videos, I guess, right, is talk about things. I'll try and get better at not ranting on for too long. Then hit the like. If you didn't like it, dislike it. Be honest. It's whatever. I'd rather honesty than falsely inflating numbers. But yeah, that's gonna be it, I think. So yeah, thanks for watching.